England against Switzerland. Mark Donaldson, Gab Marcotti, Mark Ogden. Let's start with the Englishman here. Very confident after watching a stunning performance today from his nation. It should be a case of how many against Swiss. That's the way that you would want it to be. That's the way you could argue that it should be with the talent that England have. This is a tougher game now against Switzerland. So, bearing in mind what Stevie said, do you think Southgate does what he does, makes the one change, whoever coming in for the suspended Guéhi? Or do you think finally at the quarterfinal stage, Oggy, that he'll become a little bit more adventurous and realise it's not been good enough so far?
No, there's no way. He won't make changes he doesn't have to make. So obviously Mark Guéhi is suspended, and we don't know how Kieran Trippier is, whether that was just a precautionary move or whether he has a knot that might keep him out. But the game is 6 days away, so he's got time to recover. But, you could argue watching that performance that, Harry Kane was probably playing one of his last games for England until England scored, because he was terrible. His movement was poor. He couldn't get around the pitch. But no way that Harry Kane's being dropped against Switzerland. Same with Jude Bellingham. Poor game, but he scored a big goal. So they'll stay in the team. And in many ways, it doesn't actually work the way that they play together, but he won't drop them. So for me, I did the bracket on the FC show the night, and I had Switzerland get into the semi-finals. I think the Swiss they're not an outstanding group of players, but they're a very good team. They're very well, put together by Murat Yakin. They've got a very good goalkeeper in Jan Sommer. They've got a well-organised defence. They've got experience in midfield. I think Granit Xhaka's having a good tournament. And up front, they've got pace and movement and goals. So they're going to give England a real problem. And you need a coach who's smart enough to outwit his opposition number. I just don't see Southgate having that. So what he needs is his big players, to produce big solo performances. But they haven't shown that so far. So this could be a game too far for England, because Switzerland are a good team. And, a lot of the fans will underestimate Switzerland because it's Switzerland. But I think England have got a real job on their hands. And I think, the way that Southgate goes, he won't make many changes. He'll bring in, maybe Joe Gomez or Ezra Konsa, and that'll be it. That'll be all he does.
Gab, our really good friend, our former colleague, and dearly missed Paul Mariner played for England the only time that Switzerland beat them in a competitive game. That was in 1981 in a World Cup qualifier in Basel. It's a good opponent for England. Or it was, or it has been. Is it a good opponent now, Switzerland, for England ahead of this quarterfinal?
I think it's an okay opponent, to be honest. I mean, you're in the quarterfinals, right? So you're not going to go and get absolute cream puff teams. Let me throw it back to you. And
okay.
People may have noticed you're Scottish. Were you impressed by how Switzerland performed against Scotland?
We drew against them and Italy lost, Gab.
No, but were you impressed by how, I'm asking you by the Italy were terrible. Okay, so let's not. Scotland are Scotland. Scotland are not as good as England.
No.
Did you think Switzerland looked so good and so dominant against Scotland?
Switzerland would have beaten Scotland in that game if they had to. That's my personal opinion. Last 15 minutes, Akanji's just saying, calm it down to his teammates. He's passing. Right. A point was enough for them. So
and then Jan Sommer has to make that save, right? I guess what I'm driving at is I think Switzerland are a very well-coached team. They certainly outsmarted and outwitted Luciano Spalletti and Italy. I think arguably they outsmarted for a while anyway, until he made the changes, Julian Nagelsmann and Germany. I don't know that it takes that much to outwit and outsmart Gareth Southgate, but then Southgate can also just keep his system simple. He doesn't have to do something sophisticated. He has better players. I wonder a little bit. Mark said, "Who's coming in for Gay?" Looking at the options, it's either Joe Gomez, Konsa, or Lewis Dunk, right? I don't think those are three great options, but also, in some ways, the Switzerland strikers, right? Embolo will go and try to be physical and whatever, but I don't think that's really going to spook the England defenders. I think the biggest concern is the sheer pace of Ndoye and Vargas. And I think that's where you may have an issue. I mean, that's where Walker and Trippier, if Trippier plays, are going to have to be really on top of their game to go and help out. Midfield, sure, Freuler and Xhaka have been fantastic. Ebischer has been fantastic out on the flank. But it's nothing England haven't seen before. So as long as they don't play as badly, as wretchedly as they played against Slovakia, and I know that's a big if, I think England will be just fine.
Okay, you've seen enough, Gab. You've seen enough football. We all have over the years to not look for reasons why something has happened, but just to get an idea that sometimes your name's on the trophy, or sometimes you're just destined to go far, even though you might not deserve it, but you score at the right time or whatever. What do you reckon about this as far as England are concerned? I'm not saying their name's on the trophy, but do they have something right now, whether it's luck or whatever it is, that will see them continue past Switzerland?
Is that the Scotsman coming out in you, Mark? Is that fear of what may happen? I think no. I don't see England having the name on the trophy. I really don't. I can see it. Look, yeah, late goal and what have you, but there are better teams than England in the tournament, and I think when they face those better teams, they won't beat them. You know, I think Germany are better. I think Spain are better. There are not many other teams that are better. France are probably better. So I just think that England got really lucky today, and I don't see that luck continuing unless something dramatic happens and Gareth Southgate wakes up one day and thinks, right, we're going to go for it. I'm going to make changes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But that isn't going to happen. So I'm not as confident as Garb in England's chances against Switzerland. I think Switzerland are too well organised and too well drilled, and they've got too many good players that will, like I said, England will underestimate. I think Switzerland will win.
Okay. Can I just remind everybody here about Switzerland, something that I think maybe a lot of people don't know or have forgotten. In October of last year, Switzerland played Belarus in a Euro qualifier. Mm-hmm. They were 3-1 down with 2 minutes to go. They scored twice. It finished 3-3. Murat Yakin got absolutely slaughtered. A lot of people wanted him to resign. A number of the players really gave him the cold shoulder and came as close to throwing him under the bus as you can. And now, 6-7 months later, you know, he's a toast of the town, right? Oh, his team's so well organized. He's so smart. You know, there's a lot of randomness in international football. And in the same way Murat Yakin changed it around and was vindicated, why can't Gareth turn it around and be vindicated? He's got better players, right?
Anything's possible.
I agree with that. And I think that, you know, England will get some momentum from this. And if they beat Switzerland, they get into the semi-final. I think, you know, like Gab says, that you can beat anybody on the day. So it is opening up for England. But I just think that there are too many flaws in this team and with the coach for them to go all the way. But, you know, it's been a long time. And the name on the trophy, you know, Gareth Southgate being pelted with cups by his fans, you know, being booed today. You do wonder, there's books been written about this, isn't it? How things turn around, you know, on a kind of a toss of a coin. So maybe, but I don't. I think you can sleep well, Mark. Don't worry about it. I don't think you have to wake up with nightmares about England lifting a trophy just yet.
You know what? There's 3 authors here. 2 of them might be writing a book about England winning a European Championship, but I'll give that one a miss.